The champagne glass shattered against marble tile. That's the sound Rebecca would remember. Not her ex-husband's cruel words. Not his girlfriend's mocking laugh. Just crystal exploding. Sharp. Final. Perfect. She's practically worthless now, Derek said, just around the corner. He didn't know Rebecca was listening. No job, no prospects, living in that sad little apartment. Rebecca stood frozen in the school hallway, her hand still extended where the glass had slipped. Her daughter was receiving an award 50 feet away, and her ex-husband was destroying what was left of her reputation. What Derek didn't know, Rebecca had been planning this moment for 7 years. Because in 5 days, Derek would walk into a meeting expecting to meet his company's new owner, some Silicon Valley tech executive. Instead, he'd see her, his worthless ex-wife, who just bought his entire company. This is the story of the longest game ever played. Stay until the end. You won't believe what happens. The champagne glass shattered. That's what Rebecca would remember later. Not Derek's words, not the way Vivian laughed, just the sound of crystal exploding against marble tile. Sharp. Final. The way everything shatters when you finally stop pretending you can hold it together. Rebecca Thornton stood in the hallway outside Hillcrest Academy's auditorium, frozen. Her hand was still extended where the glass had slipped. Champagne pooled around her black heels. She should move, should clean it up, should do something besides stand there like an idiot while her daughter received an award 50 feet away and her ex-husband destroyed what was left of her reputation. Becca? Derek's voice carried from around the corner. He sounded amused. She's practically worthless now. No gimme, no prospects. Living in that sad little apartment. Rebecca's breath caught. Vivian Monroe's laugh was silk and poison. How did you ever stand her? I didn't. Derek again. Casual, like discussing the weather. Not for years, but the prenup's finally done. She got nothing. Exactly what she deserved. The trophy case reflected Rebecca's face. She looked exactly like she had that morning. Dark hair pulled back, simple black dress, pearl earrings her mother gave her. How could she look the same when everything had just changed? No, that wasn't right. Nothing had changed. This was just the first time she'd heard Derek say it out loud. She did the panic thing, unlocked her phone, locked it, unlocked it again. Her hands shook. 3 times before she could think straight, before she could remember that she wasn't actually that person. The worthless one, the one with nothing. She was someone else entirely. Rebecca bent down, picked up the largest piece of crystal, sharp enough to draw blood if she squeezed. She didn't squeeze. She set it carefully on the corner of the trophy case and walked into the auditorium. The ceremony was already underway. Parents filled the rows of cushioned seats. Rebecca scanned the crowd. There, 3rd row. Derek sat beside Vivian, his arm draped across the back of her chair. Possessive. Comfortable. Like he'd never sat beside Rebecca in these same seats for 14 years of school events. Rebecca slipped into an empty seat 7 rows back. Close enough to see, far enough that Derek wouldn't notice her. He never noticed her. That had been the problem. That had also been her greatest advantage. Principal Morrison stood at the podium. Her voice echoed through the sound system. Our next award recognizes outstanding achievement in advanced mathematics. This year's recipient has maintained a perfect score in calculus and competed at the state level. Please welcome Lily Thornton. Rebecca's daughter walked across the stage, 16 years old, poised, confident. Everything Rebecca had pretended to be at that age. Everything Rebecca had actually become when no one was looking. Lily scanned the audience. Her eyes found Derek first. He waved. Lily smiled. Then her eyes kept searching. Found Rebecca. The smile changed, became real. Rebecca waved back, blew a kiss. Lily caught it, pressed it to her heart. Derek never turned around. After the ceremony, parents mingled in the reception area. Rebecca stood near the refreshment table, watched Derek work the room. He was good at this. Charming, successful marketing executive. Everyone loved Derek. Everyone thought Rebecca was lucky to have been married to him. Had been. Past tense. That was done now. Mom! Lily appeared at Rebecca's elbow. Owen followed. 13 years old, all elbows and attitude. Did you see I got the highest score? I saw. Rebecca hugged her daughter. I'm so proud of you. Dad said we're going to dinner at Moretti's. Lily's voice dropped. Can you come? Rebecca glanced across the room. Derek stood with Vivian, his hand on her lower back. Vivian wore red, expensive red. The kind that said she'd never shopped at discount stores or clipped coupons or worried about making rent. Not tonight, sweetheart. Rebecca tucked a strand of hair behind Lily's ear. This is your night with Dad. Celebrate. But I'll take you shopping this weekend. Just us. Deal? Lily studied her mother's face. Too smart, too perceptive. Are you okay? I'm perfect. Rebecca kissed her forehead. Go have fun. She waited until her kids disappeared into the crowd. Then she pulled out her phone, typed a text message to Harrison Blake. Her hands didn't shake this time. The board meeting. I'm ready. Make it next Friday. His response came 30 seconds later. About damn time, Rebecca left through the side door. Didn't say goodbye to Derek. Didn't acknowledge Vivian. Just walked to her car. A 5-year-old Honda Civic. Perfectly maintained. Perfectly unremarkable. Perfectly designed to make Derek think she was struggling. She sat in the driver's seat. Doors locked. Doors. Engine off. The parking lot lights cast orange shadows across the dashboard. She could still hear the crystal shattering. Could still hear Derek's voice. Worthless. Nothing. Sad little apartment. Her phone buzzed. Kate Morrison, her best friend, her divorce attorney, her partner in the longest con Rebecca had ever pulled. How was the ceremony? Rebecca typed back. He called me worthless. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Good. Let him think that. 5 more days. 5 more days. Then everyone would know the truth. Then Derek would know the truth. Then the worthless ex-wife would walk into his office building as the woman who owned it. Rebecca started the car, drove toward the apartment Derek knew about. The sad little apartment, 1 bedroom, 2nd floor, furniture from IKEA, photographs of the kids on the refrigerator. This was where Derek dropped off Lily and Owen every other weekend. This was where he smirked when he picked them up. This was the proof of everything he'd always believed about her. She parked in the assigned spot, climbed the exterior stairs, unlocked the door, turned on the lights. The apartment was exactly as she'd left it, clean, modest, a little worn around the edges. She loved this apartment, not because it was home, it wasn't, but because it was the best performance she'd ever given. Rebecca kicked off her heels, made tea, sat on the second-hand couch and opened her laptop. The screen glowed in the dark room. She logged into the company portal. Meridian Analytics, her company, the one Derek didn't know existed. 7 years ago, she'd been a housewife with a business degree she'd never used. Derek had encouraged that, told her the kids needed her, told her his career was enough for both of them, told her she wouldn't understand the real business world anyway. He'd been wrong about that last part. The affair had been the wake-up call, not Derek's first affair. Rebecca wasn't stupid, but the first one she'd confirmed, the one where she'd seen the text messages, the hotel receipts, the lipstick on his collar like some cliché from a bad movie. She could have divorced him then, could have fought for alimony, could have made his life difficult. But Rebecca had always played the long game, even before she knew what the game was. Instead, she'd gone to a coffee shop, met with Richard Hartley, an old colleague from her brief time in tech before marriage, before kids, before she'd made herself small enough to fit into Derek's idea of who she should be. I have an idea, she'd told Richard, for analytics software, marketing analytics. I can build it. I just need capital. Richard had studied her over his espresso. Your husband doesn't need to know about this. My husband would laugh. He'd make it about how I don't understand the real business world. Then let's not tell him. They'd shaken hands. Rebecca had gone home, made dinner, helped Owen with homework, kissed Derek goodnight, pretended everything was fine. Then she'd stayed up until 3 in the morning coding the first prototype. That had been 7 years ago. Now Meridian Analytics had 47 employees, offices in 3 cities. contracts with 12 Fortune 500 companies, revenue in the eight figures, and as of 6 months ago, controlling interest in Thompson Gray Marketing, Derek's company. Rebecca closed her laptop, finished her tea, changed into pajamas. The apartment had one bedroom. She slept here when the kids visited. It was real enough for that. Real enough that Lily had decorated the bathroom. Real enough that Owen kept his skateboard in the closet. But it wasn't home. Home was 43 floors up in a building downtown. Home was 3,000 square feet with floor-to-ceiling windows. Home was a walk-in closet bigger than this entire kitchen. Home was the penthouse apartment no one knew about except Kate and Richard and her accountant. Home was the life she'd built in secret while Derek assumed she was worthless. Rebecca set her alarm for 5 in the morning. Friday was coming. 5 more days of playing small. 5 more days of letting Derek believe his own lies. 5 more days until she walked into his office and showed him exactly how wrong he'd been. She pulled the covers up, closed her eyes, thought about the champagne glass shattering. The sound had been so clean, so final, so perfect. 5 more days. Then it would be Derek's turn to shatter, 7 years earlier. Rebecca sat across from Richard Hartley in a coffee shop 2 towns away from her house, far enough that no one would recognize her, far enough that Derek's friends wouldn't accidentally see her meeting with another man. Not that it mattered. Derek was probably having lunch with his secretary right then. The one with the long legs and the graduate degree Derek claimed he didn't find attractive. Rebecca knew better. "Walk me through it again." Richard leaned back in his chair, gray threaded through his dark hair. 45 years old, successful venture capitalist, someone who tried to recruit Rebecca straight out of MIT before she'd gotten pregnant with Lily and married Derek instead. Rebecca opened her laptop, turned the screen toward him. Marketing analytics is fragmented. Companies use 5 different platforms to track customer behavior. 5 different dashboards. 5 different data sets that don't communicate. What if there was one platform that integrated everything? There are companies trying to do that. They're doing it wrong. Rebecca pulled up her prototype. They're thinking like engineers. I'm thinking like a marketer. Like someone who's watched my husband complain about these exact problems for 14 years. Richard smiled. Derek doesn't know you can code. Derek doesn't know a lot of things. Rebecca clicked through the interface. I built this in 3 months, nights, weekends. While he was at the office or traveling or doing whatever Derek does when he's not home. Which is not my problem anymore. Rebecca met Richard's eyes. I don't want to fix my marriage. I want to build a company. Richard studied the screen, scrolled through her demo, tested the features. His expression never changed. Finally, he looked up. You're better than I remember. I've had time to practice. How much are you looking for? 500,000 to start, 20% equity. That's low. You should ask for more. I'm asking for what I need, and I'm asking for something else. Rebecca closed the laptop. Derek can't know about this. Not yet. Maybe not ever. This needs to be completely separate from my marriage. You planning to divorce him? I'm planning to have options. Richard was quiet for a long moment. Outside the coffee shop, traffic hummed past. A woman laughed at the next table. The espresso machine hissed. Normal sounds, normal day. Normal life for everyone except Rebecca. Your husband doesn't deserve you, Richard said finally. My husband doesn't see me, Rebecca corrected. There's a difference. They shook hands, signed papers 2 weeks later. Rebecca became CEO and majority shareholder of Meridian Analytics. Richard held 49%. Silent partner, patient investor, friend. The company lived in her laptop for the first year. Rebecca coded during nap time when Owen was small, coded after Derek fell asleep, coded in coffee shops while pretending to be at the gym, built the platform piece by piece, feature by feature, module by module. Derek never asked what she was doing. Derek never noticed. Year 2, she brought on her first employee, a developer she'd known in college, remote contract work. They met in video calls Rebecca took from her car in grocery store parking lots. Year 3, Meridian landed its first major client, a mid-size retailer, testing the platform. $50,000. Rebecca deposited the check in an account Derek didn't know existed. Hired 2 more developers. Year 3 was also when Rebecca found the second affair. Different secretary, same pattern. Late nights at the office. Sudden business trips. Derek's phone face down on the counter. Rebecca didn't confront him, didn't cry, didn't fall apart. She just worked harder. Landed 2 more clients, hired a sales team, moved the company from her laptop to a shared office space across town. Derek thought she was taking yoga classes. Year 4, Derek asked for a divorce. They were eating dinner, just the 2 of them. Kids at friends' houses. Derek had made reservations at the expensive restaurant he loved. Rebecca had known something was coming. Derek only made gestures like that when he felt guilty. "I think we should talk about our future," Derek said over wine. Rebecca set down her fork. "Okay, we've grown apart. Have we? I think we want different things." "What things?" Derek shifted in his seat. He'd rehearsed this, Rebecca could tell. "I want a partner who understands my world, who can engage with my colleagues, who's ambitious." "I see." Rebecca kept her voice neutral. Easy, the voice of a woman who wasn't planning anything. "You want a divorce?" "I think it's best." Derek reached across the table, patted her hand, patronizing. "You'll be fine. We'll work out something fair." Fair, Rebecca almost laughed. Derek thought fair meant she'd get the apartment and some alimony and maybe a small settlement. Derek thought fair meant he'd keep the house and the investments and the comfortable life while she struggled. Derek had no idea what fair actually looked like. "All right," Rebecca said, "let's do it amicably. For the kids." Derek looked relieved. "I'm glad you're being reasonable about this." Reasonable. That was the word he'd use later to justify everything. Rebecca was being reasonable. Rebecca was agreeable. Rebecca understood that these things happened. Rebecca wasn't going to make trouble. He was right about that last part. Rebecca wasn't going to make trouble. She was going to make a reckoning. Kate Morrison handled the divorce. Technically, Kate worked for a firm downtown. Unofficially, Kate had been Rebecca's best friend since college. Officially, Kate drew up papers that gave Derek almost everything. Unofficially, Kate and Rebecca sat in the Meridian Analytics office laughing about it. "This is insane." Kate poured them both wine. Year 5 now, Meridian had 15 employees, revenue in the millions. "You're worth more than him, way more, and you're letting him think he won." "He needs to think he won." Rebecca swirled her wine. "I need him comfortable, arrogant, not looking over his shoulder." "Oui, because I'm not done yet." Kate studied her. "What are you planning?" Rebecca smiled. "Thompson Gray Marketing." "Derek's company?" "I'm going to buy it." Kate choked on her wine. "You're what?" "Not all at once, quietly, through shell companies. Meridian already has 2 of their competitors as clients. We'll gradually acquire shares. Nothing dramatic, nothing that triggers attention. Just slow accumulation until we have controlling interest. That's going to take years. I have time." "Rebecca." Kate set down her glass. "This isn't about business anymore. This is personal." "It's both." Rebecca met her friend's eyes. "Derek thinks I'm worthless. Let him keep thinking that. Let him keep making jokes. Let him keep dating whatever 20-something he's with this month. And then, when I'm ready, when everything is in place, I'll show him who I actually am." "And who's that?" "Someone who doesn't need his permission to be extraordinary." The divorce finalized in year 5. Derek kept the house. Rebecca got the small apartment and minimal alimony. The kids split time between them. On paper, Rebecca looked like exactly what Derek thought she was. The wife who'd contributed nothing. The woman who'd been lucky to have him. The cautionary tale. Off paper, Rebecca was closing in on $20 million in annual revenue. Year 6, Meridian Analytics reached 35 employees, opened a second office, landed contracts with 3 Fortune 500 companies. Rebecca's platform was becoming industry standard. Marketing executives across the country relied on her software, including Derek. He had no idea his ex-wife had built the tool he used every day. Year 6 was also when Rebecca started acquiring shares in Thompson Gray Marketing. Small percentages, bought through investment firms, nothing connected to her name, nothing that would trigger questions. Just patient accumulation of power Derek couldn't see. Year 7, 6 months ago. Meridian Analytics achieved controlling interest. Richard called her from the lawyer's office. It's done, you own Thompson Gray. Rebecca had been sitting in her penthouse, the real apartment, the one with the view. She'd walk to the window, look down at the city. Somewhere down there, Derek was living his life, going to his office, sitting in meetings, bragging about his latest account, probably telling someone about his poor ex-wife in her sad little apartment. Thank you, Rebecca had told Richard. What happens now? Now we wait for the right moment. That moment came tonight at Lily's award ceremony, when Rebecca heard Derek's voice around that corner, when she heard him call her worthless, when the champagne glass shattered and Rebecca realized she was done waiting. Now, in the present, Rebecca lay in the bed in the apartment Derek knew about, remembered all of it. Every year, every decision, every quiet victory Derek had missed. People thought revenge was hot, emotional, reckless. They were wrong. Real revenge was cold, patient, strategic. Real revenge took 7 years of pretending to be small while building an empire no one could see. Real revenge looked like Rebecca Thornton. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Text from Richard. Board meeting set for Friday, 10 a.m. Harrison Blake will handle the introduction. Rebecca typed back. Perfect. Another text. This one from Kate. You sure about this? Last chance to back out. Rebecca didn't hesitate. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Kate's response was immediate. Then let's show him who you really are. Rebecca set down her phone, closed her eyes. In 5 days, Derek would walk into a conference room expecting to meet some Silicon Valley tech bro who'd bought his company, some stranger who'd either keep him on or let him go based on his resume and his quarterly numbers. Instead, Derek would see his ex-wife, the one he'd dismissed, the one he'd divorced, the one he'd called worthless just hours ago in a school hallway while she stood there listening. He would see her, really see her, for the first time in their entire relationship, and then he would understand exactly what he'd lost. Not their marriage. Derek had never valued that, but his comfortable certainty that he was better than her. His easy superiority, his story where he was the successful one and she was the failure. That story was ending Friday. Rebecca smiled in the dark. She could hardly wait. Monday morning, Rebecca woke at 5. The penthouse was silent except for city sounds 43 floors below. She lay in bed for 10 minutes, just breathing, just existing in her real life before she had to put on the costume again. Her phone showed 3 new emails, all Meridian business. She'd answer them later. First, she needed to check in with her other life. Rebecca showered in the marble bathroom. The space was bigger than the entire apartment Derek knew about. Double vanity, soaking tub, glass-enclosed shower with 4 heads. She still wasn't used to it. Part of her worried she'd never get used to it. The girl who'd clipped coupons and shopped sales still lived somewhere inside. Good. That girl had built this. She dressed in the walk-in closet, business casual for the real office. Slacks and a blouse, comfortable heels, not the designer clothes she owned. Those stayed hidden. Those were for after Friday. 6 a.m. Rebecca took the private elevator down to the parking garage. Her real car waited there. A Tesla, midnight blue. She'd bought it 6 months ago when the Thompson Gray acquisition went through. Small celebration, secret celebration. She drove across town to the Meridian Analytics building. Modern glass and steel, 10 floors. The company leased 6 of them now. Reception area with the company logo etched in brushed metal. Security guard who waved when she walked in. Morning, Miss Thornton. Morning, Marcus. She caught herself. Wrong name. That wasn't in her outline. Morning, David. David. The security guard's name was David. She needed to keep track, needed to stay focused. Friday was 4 days away. The executive elevator required a key card. Rebecca scanned hers, rode up to the 9th floor, corner office with windows overlooking downtown. Her assistant, Hannah, already had coffee waiting. Morning. Hannah followed her into the office. 26 years old, sharp, efficient. Someone who'd figure out Rebecca's secret eventually, if she hadn't already. Board prep for Friday is on your desk. Richard called twice. And Bradley Winters from Thompson Gray wants to meet. Rebecca set down her bag. Bradley Winters? He says it's important. Wouldn't tell me what it's about. Interesting. Bradley worked it with Derek, same department, same level. They'd been at the house for dinners back when Rebecca still attended Derek's work events, before she'd become too embarrassing to invite. Set it up, here, tomorrow, early. 7 a.m.? Perfect. Hannah left. Rebecca sat at her desk, opened the board prep folder. Harrison Blake had put together the presentation schedule. 10 a.m. Friday, Thompson Gray's executive team would gather in the main conference room. Harrison would introduce Rebecca as the new majority owner. Then she'd present her vision for the company's future. Simple, clean, professional. Rebecca's hands shook slightly, holding the folder. She pressed them flat against the desk. This wasn't nervousness. This was adrenaline. This was 7 years of patient work coming together. This was vindication. This was justice. Her phone rang. Kate. Tell me you slept. Kate's voice was morning rough. 6 hours. Liar. 4. That's what I thought. Papers shuffled in the background. Kate was probably already at her own office. Listen, I have some news. Vivian Monroe is asking questions. Rebecca pulled up a new screen on her computer, started typing notes. What kind of questions? About you, about the divorce settlement. She called my office pretending to need a referral for a friend, asked a lot of specific questions about prenups and asset disclosure. She thinks I hid money. She thinks something's off. Women like Vivian recognize when the math doesn't add up. Derek tells her you're broke, but Lily showed up wearing new shoes last week. Expensive shoes. Rebecca closed her eyes. She'd taken Lily shopping, bought her the sneakers she'd been wanting. Limited edition, $200. At the time it had seemed safe, just a mother buying her daughter shoes. But Vivian would notice. Vivian made it her business to notice things. It's fine, Rebecca said. 4 more days. She can suspect all she wants. If she mentions it to Derek, Derek won't listen. He's already decided who I am. Nothing Vivian says will change that. You sure? Positive. Derek's ego won't let him believe he could have been wrong about me for 7 years. Kate was quiet for a moment. You know him really well. I was married to him for 14 years. No, I mean you really understand him, how he thinks, what he'll do. This whole plan depends on predicting his reactions. He's predictable. That's why this works. Still, it's a little scary how well you've mapped this out. Rebecca looked out her office window. The city woke up below, people going to work, living their normal lives. It's not scary, it's just survival. This is what women do. We watch, we learn, we adapt, because we have to. Not all women build empires in secret. Maybe they should. Kate laughed. Call me after the Bradley meeting tomorrow. I want to know what he wants. They hung up. Rebecca worked through the morning, budget reviews, client calls, strategy session with her development team about the next software update, normal CEO things, the kind of work Derek assumed she could never do. At noon, she left the office, drove to the sad little apartment, changed clothes, jeans and a t-shirt, grocery store shoes, pulled her hair into a ponytail, became the version of herself Derek believed in. She did the panic thing again, checked her bank balance, the one Derek knew about, the account with $3,000 in it. Then she did it again, and once more. Old habit, even though she knew the balance, even though she knew her real accounts had 7 figures. The habit persisted. 1 p.m. Rebecca drove to Owen's school, parent-teacher conference. She sat in a plastic chair across from his math teacher. Owen's doing well. Mrs. Peterson pulled out a progress report. His grades have improved significantly this semester. That's wonderful. Rebecca studied the numbers. Mostly B's. 1A, that was new. He seems more focused, more confident. Mrs. Peterson leaned forward. Has something changed at home? Rebecca thought about that. Had something changed? The divorce was 2 years final. That wasn't new. The custody arrangement was stable. What had changed was Rebecca. Her secret success was bleeding through, making her more confident, making her stronger. And maybe Owen felt that. We're in a good place, Rebecca said carefully. All of us. I'm glad. Sometimes divorce is hard on kids, but Owen seems to be thriving. The word thriving stuck with Rebecca after she left. She sat in the Honda Civic in the school parking lot, thought about her son thriving, thought about Lily excelling in math, thought about how Derek would claim credit for both, his genetics, his support, his parenting. Derek wouldn't mention that Rebecca did homework every night, that she attended every conference, that she showed up even when it was technically his custody week because she knew the kids needed consistency. Derek wouldn't mention any of that because Derek didn't see it. 4 more days, Rebecca drove back across town, not to the penthouse, not yet, to a coffee shop she liked, the one where she'd first met with Richard 7 years ago. She ordered tea, sat in the corner with her laptop, pretended to work on something while actually just remembering. The memory flooding had started. She couldn't stop it. Every good moment with Derek now tainted by knowing how it ended. Their wedding day. She'd been so happy, so certain they'd build a life together. Had Derek been faking even then? Or had he believed it too before he started believing she wasn't enough? Their first apartment. Tiny. Cheap. They'd made love on an air mattress and eaten cereal for dinner and laughed about being broke together. When had Derek stopped finding that romantic? When had their shared struggle become his success and her failure in his mind? Lily's birth. Derek crying while he held their daughter. He'd been a good father then. He was still a good father now. That made it more complicated. Rebecca could have hated him cleanly if he had been terrible to the kids. But he loved them. He showed up for them. He just didn't see Rebecca anymore. Maybe he never had. Her phone buzzed. Text from Lily. Dad's taking us to dinner Wednesday. Can you come? Rebecca typed back. It's his night, honey. You should have time with just him. He's bringing Vivian. Of course he was. Derek always brought Vivian now, making sure the kids got comfortable with her, setting up the future where Vivian replaced Rebecca completely, where the kids called Vivian by her first name, but eventually thought of her as the woman in their father's life, the permanent one, the one who mattered. I'll take you out Friday night, Rebecca typed. Just us three. Deal? Deal. Love you, Mom. Love you too. Friday night, after the meeting, after Derek knew, after everything changed, Rebecca would take her kids to dinner and pretend everything was normal, while their father's world collapsed around him. No, that wasn't fair. Rebecca wasn't trying to collapse Derek's world. She was just refusing to stay small in hers. She closed her laptop, left the coffee shop, drove to the penthouse, her real home, the place no one knew about. The elevator opened directly into her apartment, 3,000 square feet, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the entire city, kitchen with marble countertops, living room with furniture she'd picked herself, not the furniture Derek had chosen for their married house, not the furniture that fit his aesthetic. Her choices, her style, her space. Rebecca walked to the window, looked down. Somewhere down there, Derek was living his life. Maybe having dinner with Vivian, maybe telling her about his day, maybe laughing about something, living his comfortable existence where he'd successfully divorced his useless wife and moved on to someone better. 4 more days until that story ended. Rebecca pulled out her phone, opened the photos, found the one from tonight, Lily in her awards ceremony dress, smiling, holding her mathematics trophy, beautiful, smart, kind, everything Rebecca and Derek had made together. That was worth protecting. That was worth fighting for. Not the marriage. That was dead, had been dead for years before the divorce papers. But the truth, the kids deserved to know the truth, that their mother wasn't worthless, that their mother had built something extraordinary, that their mother was someone to be proud of. 4 more days, then Lily and Owen would know who she really was. Then everyone would know. Rebecca changed into pajamas, made dinner, sat at her dining table alone. The apartment was quiet, peaceful. This was her real life, but it was also incomplete, hidden, secret. She was tired of secrets. She was tired of being invisible. Friday morning, she would walk into Thompson Gray Marketing. She would stand in front of Derek and his colleagues. She would show them the company she'd built, the platform they used, the success they'd never imagined she could achieve. And then she would give Derek a choice: stay and work for her, prove himself on merit, or leave and find something else. Either way, he'd know. He'd finally see her, really see her, the way he should have seen her 14 years ago, the way he should have seen her every day of their marriage. Rebecca finished dinner, cleaned up, got ready for bed. Tomorrow she'd meet with Bradley Winters, find out what he wanted. Then Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday. Then everything would change. She set her alarm for 5 a.m., lay down in the California king bed, looked at the ceiling. The champagne glass still echoed in her memory. The sound of breaking, the sound of something ending, or maybe it was the sound of something beginning. Rebecca smiled in the dark. 4 more days, Monday morning. Derek Thornton woke in the house he'd kept, the house he'd shared with Rebecca, the house that was his now, completely his. Vivian lay beside him, still asleep, red hair spread across the pillow. She was beautiful, successful, everything Rebecca hadn't been. Derek watched her breathe for a moment, felt satisfied. This was better. This was right. This was what his life should have always been. He got up, showered in the master bathroom he no longer had to share, dressed in the walk-in closet that used to hold Rebecca's clothes. Now it held his suits, his shoes, his accessories, everything organized exactly how he liked it. 7 a.m. Derek made coffee, the expensive kind, Ethiopian beans. Vivian had introduced him to good coffee. Rebecca used to buy whatever was on sale at the grocery store. That should have been a sign. Should have told him she didn't appreciate quality. His phone showed 2 emails, one from Harrison Blake, the other from his mother. Harrison's email was brief. Important meeting Friday, 10 a.m. New ownership wants to meet the executive team. Attendance mandatory. New ownership. Thomson Gray had been bought 6 months ago. Some Silicon Valley tech company. Meridian Analytics. Derek had looked them up. Solid company. Their platform was actually excellent. Derek used it himself. But the sale had been quiet. No announcements, no press releases. Just a private acquisition and business as usual. Until now. Derek opened his mother's email. Dinner this week. Need to discuss Lily's college plans. He typed back. Thursday work? His mother responded immediately. Perfect. 6 p.m. And bring Vivian. Derek smiled. His mother loved Vivian, had loved her from the first introduction. Finally, Janet Thornton had said, a woman who understands your world. Unlike Rebecca, Rebecca had never fit with his mother, had never dressed right, never said the right things, never impressed at family gatherings. His mother had told him for years that he'd married beneath himself. Derek hadn't believed her at the time. Now he knew she'd been right. 8 a.m. Derek drove to Thomson Gray Marketing. 45-minute commute. He used the time to return calls, plan his day, think about his career trajectory. He was due for a promotion, had been due for 2 years. Maybe the new ownership would recognize his value. Maybe this was his opportunity. The office building was glass and steel. 12 floors. Thomson Gray occupied the top 3. Executive parking underground. Derek pulled into his assigned spot, took the elevator up. His office was on the 11th floor. Corner space. Good view. Photos of Lily and Owen on his desk. One photo of Vivian from their trip to Napa. No photos of Rebecca. Those were gone now. Packed away. Past tense. Derek's assistant brought coffee. Morning, you have the Hopkins pitch at 9. Budget review at 11. And Bradley Winters wants to see you. About what? He didn't say. Bradley appeared in Derek's doorway 10 minutes later. They'd worked together for 6 years. Same level, same department, friendly rivals. Except lately Bradley had been distant, quiet, like he was keeping something to himself. Got a minute? Bradley closed the door behind him. Sure, what's up? Bradley sat down, studied Derek for a long moment. Friday's meeting, the new owner. What about it? You should be careful. Derek frowned. Careful how? New ownership usually means changes, restructuring, sometimes layoffs. I'm not worried. Derek leaned back in his chair, confident. I landed the Hartwell account last year, grew regional sales by 30%. My numbers are solid. Your numbers are fine. That's not what I'm talking about. Then what are you talking about? Bradley seemed to be choosing his words carefully. The new owner, Meridian Analytics, they have a reputation for being ruthless about performance, about attitude, about how you treat people. I treat people fine. Do you? Bradley met his eyes. Think about how you talk about your ex-wife. Derek stiffened. What does Rebecca have to do with anything? Nothing, probably nothing. Bradley stood. Just be careful Friday. That's all I'm saying. He left. Derek sat at his desk, confused, annoyed. What did Rebecca have to do with his job? Why would Bradley bring her up? Derek pulled out his phone, scrolled to his text thread with Vivian. Blake wants the executive team to meet new ownership Friday. Probably wants to size us up. Vivian responded immediately. What will you say? What I always say. I'm valuable. I'm the one who makes things happen here. You are. They're lucky to have you. Derek smiled. That was the difference. Vivian understood his value. Vivian supported his ambition. Vivian didn't make him feel guilty for wanting success. The rest of Monday passed normally. Meetings, emails, strategy sessions. Derek worked late. Vivian had plans with friends. He grabbed dinner alone at the bar near the office. Expensive whiskey, steak. The kind of meal he deserved after a long day. Tuesday morning, Derek met with his team, reviewed the quarterly projections. Everything looked good. Solid growth, happy clients, no concerns. Tuesday afternoon, his phone rang, unknown number. This is Derek. Mr. Thornton, this is Harrison Blake. Derek sat up straight going. Harrison was the managing partner. The man who'd run Thompson Gray for 15 years before the acquisition. The man who now reported to whoever owned Meridian Analytics. Harrison, what can I do for you, Vita? The Friday meeting, I wanted to give you advance notice. The new owner is very detail-oriented. They'll want to discuss your accounts, your team, your approach, and not a problem. I'm happy to discuss anything. Good. Harrison paused. They're also interested in company culture, how the executive team works together, how we treat people at all levels. There it was again, that reference to treating people. What was going on? Our culture is excellent, Derek said carefully. We're professional, we're collaborative. I'm sure you are. Harrison's tone was neutral, unreadable. Just be prepared for detailed questions. This owner likes to understand everything. They hung up. Derek stared at his phone. Something was off. Harrison had sounded almost warning. But warning him about what? Wednesday morning, Derek picked up the kids for breakfast before school. His custody week didn't start until Friday, but he liked to see them midweek, liked to stay connected. They met at the pancake place near Hillcrest Academy. Lily ordered blueberry, Owen ordered chocolate chip. Derek ordered coffee and fruit, trying to watch his weight. Vivian had mentioned he'd put on a few pounds. How's school? Derek cut his melon. Good. Lily was quiet, more quiet than usual. Just good. Mom took me shopping Saturday. Got those shoes I wanted. Derek glanced under the table. Limited edition sneakers. $200. He'd told Lily they were too expensive. Rebecca must have bought them anyway. Undermining him, making him look like the bad guy. Those are nice. Derek kept his voice neutral. Your mom must have saved up. I guess. Lily pushed pancakes around her plate. Dad, is Vivian moving in? We've talked about it. Why? Just wondering. Owen spoke through a mouthful of chocolate chips. She leaves stuff everywhere. Her makeup is all over your bathroom. That's because she stays over sometimes. She stays over every night, Lily corrected. Derek set down his fork. Would it bother you if Vivian lived with us? Lily shrugged. Non-answer. Teenage deflection. Owen kept eating. She's not trying to replace your mom, Derek said. Your mom will always be your mom. I know. Lily met his eyes. But Mom lives in that tiny apartment, and you have the whole house and now Vivian. It just seems what? Unfair. Derek's jaw tightened. This was Rebecca's influence, planting ideas, making the kids feel sorry for her. Your mom got what was fair in the divorce. She chose not to fight for more. Because she wanted it to be easy for us, Lily said quietly. She told me. She said she didn't want us caught in the middle. That's mature of her. Derek forced a smile. See? Everything worked out. But Lily didn't look convinced. And Owen had gone quiet. Derek changed the subject, talked about school, sports, safe topics, dropped them off 20 minutes later feeling unsettled. That evening he met his mother for dinner. Thursday, 6 p.m. The restaurant his mother preferred. White tablecloths, wine list, quiet conversations. Vivian came with him, wore a dress his mother would approve of. Classic, expensive, appropriate. Janet Thornton held court at the table. 77 years old, sharp, elegant, unforgiving. Derek tells me you have a big meeting Friday. Janet cut her salmon precisely. New ownership. That's right. Are you worried? Why would I be worried? Changes at the top always mean risk. Janet sipped her wine. They'll want to put their stamp on things, make cuts, prove they're in charge. I'm not worried, Derek repeated. But he was. Just a little. Just enough to make him uncomfortable. Vivian touched his hand. Derek is the best at what he does. They'd be stupid to let him go. Of course he is. Janet smiled at Vivian, approving. Unlike some people who contributed nothing. She meant Rebecca. Janet always meant Rebecca when she talked about people who contributed nothing. Speaking of Rebecca, Janet's tone sharpened. Lily mentioned expensive shoes. How is your ex-wife affording those? I don't know, maybe she got a credit card. Or maybe she's hiding money from the divorce. Janet leaned forward. You should look into that. Make sure she disclosed everything. The divorce was 2 years ago. It's done. Money has a way of appearing later, especially with sneaky women. Derek didn't think Rebecca was sneaky. He thought she was, what? Simple, uncomplicated. She'd never been good with money, never understood investment, never asked questions about their finances during the marriage. She'd been content to let him handle everything. That's why the divorce had been so easy. Rebecca hadn't known enough to fight. I'm sure it's fine, Derek said, but Janet's words stayed with him. That night, the next morning, Thursday, he arrived at work distracted, went through the motions. His mind kept circling back to the meeting tomorrow. 10 a.m. tomorrow, he'd meet the new owner, some tech entrepreneur from Silicon Valley probably, someone who'd made their fortune young, someone who thought they could waltz in and change everything. Derek would show them his value, would prove he belonged, would secure his position and probably his promotion. Everything would be fine. Thursday evening, Derek went to the gym, lifted weights, ran 5 miles, pushed himself harder than usual, trying to burn off the anxiety he wouldn't admit to feeling. His phone buzzed during cooldown. Text from Bradley. Good luck tomorrow. Seriously. Derek didn't respond. What was everyone so worried about? Why did they keep warning him? He went home. Vivian had cooked. Pasta, wine. They ate on the patio Rebecca had designed, the garden Rebecca had planted. Derek didn't think about that. Didn't think about anything except tomorrow. Friday morning, 5 a.m. Derek woke before his alarm, showered, shaved carefully, selected his best suit. Navy, Brooks Brothers, the one that cost more than Rebecca used to spend on clothes in a year. 6 a.m., he made coffee, checked his phone. Email from Harrison, see you at 10, conference room A. Come prepared. Come prepared. What did that mean? Derek had his quarterly reports, his account summaries, his performance metrics. He was always prepared. 7 a.m. Derek kissed Vivian goodbye, drove to the office. 45 minutes in traffic. He listened to a podcast about leadership, about executive presence, about commanding a room. 8 a.m. He arrived at Thompson Gray, 2 hours early, went to his office, reviewed everything one more time. Numbers, names, strategies. Perfect. All perfect. 9:30. Derek walked to the bathroom, checked his appearance in the mirror. The suit looked good, professional, successful. He looked like a man who belonged in the room, a man who couldn't be dismissed. 9:45. He made his way to conference room A, top floor, the room with the best view. Several colleagues already waited. Bradley, Jennifer, Marcus from accounting, Sarah from HR. They all looked nervous. Derek didn't feel nervous. Derek felt ready. 10 a.m. Harrison Blake walked in. Thank you all for coming. Harrison stood at the head of the table. As you know, Meridian Analytics acquired controlling interest in Thompson Gray 6 months ago. Our new majority owner has preferred to work behind the scenes. Until now. Everyone leaned forward. Today you'll meet them. They'll explain their vision for the company. Please welcome them with the professionalism Thompson Gray is known for. Harrison walked to the door, opened it. A woman walked in. Derek's brain stopped working. Because the woman was Rebecca, His ex-wife, Rebecca, the one who lived in the sad little apartment, the one who had no job, no prospects, no future. That Rebecca walked into the conference room wearing an Armani suit and carrying herself like she owned the place. Because she did own the place. Rebecca's eyes found his, held his gaze. Her expression was calm, professional, unreadable. Harrison spoke. Gentlemen, ladies, please meet Rebecca Thornton, founder and CEO of Meridian Analytics, and as of 6 months ago, majority owner of Thompson Gray Marketing. The room went silent. Derek's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Rebecca smiled. Hello, everyone, she said. Let's talk about the future. The conference room was silent except for the HVAC system, that low hum. Rebecca counted the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Someone's phone vibrated against the mahogany table. 5, 6. Derek's mouth opened. 7, 8. He closed it. Rebecca had imagined this moment for 7 years. In her imagination, Derek had shouted, or walked out, or demanded explanations. In reality, he just sat there, frozen, like his brain couldn't process what his eyes were seeing. That was almost better. Most of you know me as Derek's ex-wife. Rebecca walked to the head of the conference room. Harrison stepped aside, gave her the floor. Today I'd like you to meet me as something else, the person who built the analytics platform you've been using for the past 3 years. She clicked the remote in her hand. The screen behind her lit up. Meridian Analytics logo. Clean, professional, powerful. 7 years ago, I saw a problem in the marketing industry. Data fragmentation. Multiple platforms that didn't communicate. Executives drowning in information but starving for insight. Rebecca advanced to the next slide. Growth charts, revenue projections, client list. I built Meridian to solve that problem. Bradley Winters was nodding. He'd known this was coming. Rebecca had met with him Tuesday morning, warned him, asked him to be her ally when the moment came. He'd agreed immediately. Jennifer from sales looked confused. Sarah from HR looked impressed. Marcus from accounting looked like he was calculating numbers in his head. Derek looked like he might be sick. While I was married to Derek, I developed the initial prototype. Another slide, screenshots of her original interface. I brought on partners, secured funding, built a team, all from my kitchen table while my husband was at work. She let that sink in. Kitchen table. While Derek was at work. While Derek assumed she was doing nothing. While Derek told people she didn't understand the real business world. During our divorce proceedings, I chose not to disclose Meridian. Rebecca met Derek's eyes, held them. The company was built with money I raised independently. The work was done on my own time. It was completely separate from marital assets. She paused, let the room absorb that. No one spoke, no one moved. Some of you might question the ethics of that decision. Rebecca's voice stayed calm, professional. I questioned it myself, but then I remembered every time my ideas were dismissed, every time my opinions were ignored, every time I was told I didn't understand business. And I realized I didn't owe anyone disclosure of what I'd built entirely on my own. Her finger hovered over the remote. Next slide. But she didn't advance yet. Let the silence stretch. Let them sit with it. Derek finally found his voice. This is insane. Is it? Rebecca tilted her head. Which part? That I built a successful company? Or that you never noticed? You lied. I built something. You assumed I did nothing. Those aren't the same thing. Derek pushed back from the table, stood. His face was the color of old newspaper. I can't. Sit down, Derek. Harrison's voice was firm. Let her finish. Derek sat, didn't look at Rebecca, looked at the table, at his hands, at anything but her. Rebecca advanced the slide. Acquisition details. 6 months ago, Meridian Analytics acquired controlling interest in Thompson Gray Marketing. The transaction was handled through investment firms. Standard corporate acquisition. Nothing illegal, nothing unethical, just business. Another slide. Organization chart. Rebecca's name at the top, Harrison's below, then the executive team, including Derek. Today I'm assuming active leadership. Harrison will transition to advisory role. Rebecca set down the remote. placed both hands on the table. I want to be clear about my intentions. I'm not here for revenge. I'm not here to punish anyone. I'm here because I built a company that can help Thompson Gray grow. She looked around the room, made eye contact with each person. Bradley, Jennifer, Sarah, Marcus, saved Derek for last. Everyone in this room will have the opportunity to prove themselves, on merit, based on performance. Fair evaluation for everyone. Rebecca's voice softened slightly. I know this is a shock. I know some of you have questions. We'll address all of that in individual meetings next week. For now, I just want to introduce myself, the real me, not Derek's ex-wife, not someone's former spouse, just Rebecca Thornton, CEO. Harrison stepped forward. Thank you, Rebecca. Does anyone have immediate questions? Jennifer raised her hand. What changes should we expect? Minimal structural changes. I like what Thompson Gray has built, but I'll be implementing better integration with Meridian's platform. More efficient data flow, better client insights. And personnel changes? Marcus asked. As I said, everyone will be evaluated on merit. I'm not planning layoffs, but I'm also not planning to carry dead weight. If you do your job well, you'll be fine. Derek's jaw clenched. Dead weight. Was that directed at him, or was Rebecca being genuine? He couldn't tell, couldn't read her. When had Rebecca become unreadable? Sarah asked about reporting structure. Bradley asked about project timelines. The meeting continued for 20 more minutes. Professional questions, professional answers. Like this was normal. Like Derek's ex-wife hadn't just revealed herself as his new boss. Finally, Harrison wrapped up. Thank you all. Rebecca will schedule individual meetings with each department head. We'll reconvene next Friday for strategic planning. People filed out, quiet, stunned. Derek remained in his seat. Bradley squeezed his shoulder on the way past. Sympathy or pity? Derek couldn't tell which. The room emptied until only Derek, Rebecca, and Harrison remained. Harrison looked between them. I'll give you two a moment. That's not necessary, Derek started. Yes, it is. Harrison walked out, closed the door behind him. Rebecca gathered her materials. Didn't rush, didn't look at Derek, just organized her folders, put away her remote, checked her phone. Rebecca, Derek's voice cracked. You can't just, this is insane. You can't just buy my company and it's not your company. Rebecca finally looked at him. It never was. You work here, that's all. You lied to me for years about everything. I built something, you assumed I was doing nothing. There's a difference. Stop saying that. Derek stood, paced to the window, back to the chair, to the window again. You deliberately hid this. Deliberately made me think. Think what? That I was worthless? That I had no prospects? That I was living in a sad little apartment with no future? Derek froze, turned slowly. You heard me. Monday night at Lily's ceremony. I was standing 10 feet away. You just never looked. Vivian was asking. You called me worthless. Rebecca's voice stayed level, calm. But underneath, Derek could hear something else, something sharp. Not to my face, not in anger, just casually, like it was a fact, like I was obviously worth nothing and everyone knew it. I didn't mean, yes, you did. Rebecca picked up her bag. You meant exactly that. You've thought it for years, maybe the whole marriage. And you know what? I let you think it, because it was easier to let you believe your own lies than to fight you constantly about who I actually was. Derek didn't know what to say, didn't know how to respond. This Rebecca was different, confident, strong. Nothing like the woman he'd been married to. Or maybe she'd always been this woman. Maybe he just never looked. What happens now? Derek asked quietly. That's up to you. What does that mean? Rebecca walked to the door, stopped, turned back. You're a good executive, Derek. Your numbers are solid. Your clients like you. You're talented at what you do. But if you want to stay at this company, you'll need to prove you can work for me, report to me, take direction from me. Rebecca held his gaze. Can you do that? Derek's pride wanted to say no, wanted to walk out, wanted to quit dramatically and find something else, somewhere Rebecca couldn't touch. But his practical side knew better. His resume looked good here, his salary was excellent, and in this economy, with his age, with his specific experience, finding an equivalent position wouldn't be easy. I need to think about it, he said. Fair enough. You have until Monday. Let Harrison know your decision. Rebecca opened the door. Oh, and Derek? That sad little apartment you love to mention? I kept the lease for the kids. They like having a place that's just ours. Uncomplicated. But I don't actually live there. Haven't for 5 years. She walked out. Derek stood alone in the conference room. 43 floors up, view of the entire city. He'd given presentations in this room, closed deals, celebrated victories. This was his territory, his professional home. Except it wasn't anymore. Now this building belonged to Rebecca. This company belonged to Rebecca. Everything belonged to the woman he'd called worthless 3 days ago. Derek pulled out his phone, called Vivian. She answered immediately. How did it go? Did they offer you the promotion? Vivian. Derek's voice sounded strange to his own ears, hollow. I need to tell you something. What's wrong? You sound weird. The new owner, the person who bought Thompson Gray. What about them? It's Rebecca. Silence on the line, then, what? Rebecca owns the company. She's been running some tech company for 7 years. She's the CEO. She's my boss now. More silence. Then Vivian's voice, cold. You're joking. I'm not joking. She just introduced herself to the executive team. She owns controlling interest. She's taking over. Your ex-wife, the one with no job, the one who lives in that apartment. Apparently that was fake. She has a different apartment, a real one, and a company, a successful company. How successful? I don't know. She didn't share numbers, but she bought Thompson Gray, so very successful. Vivian was quiet for a long time. Derek could hear her breathing, could imagine her face, the calculations happening behind her eyes. I need to go, Vivian said finally. Wait, I'll call you later. I need to think. She hung up. Derek stood in the empty conference room. Alone, his ex-wife owned his company. His girlfriend was reconsidering their relationship. His career was suddenly uncertain. Everything he'd built, everything he'd counted on, all of it had shifted in the span of 20 minutes. He did the thing Rebecca used to do, paced to the window, back to his chair, to the window, back to the chair. Couldn't settle, couldn't process. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. But it was real. It was happening. And Derek had no idea what to do about it. He left the conference room. Took the elevator down to his office. His assistant wasn't at her desk, probably at lunch. Good, he needed privacy. Derek closed his office door, sat at his desk, looked at the photos. Lily, Owen, Vivian. The life he'd built after leaving Rebecca. Except he hadn't left Rebecca. Not really. She'd been building this the whole time. Planning this, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal it. 7 years. 7 years of letting him think he'd won, of letting him feel superior, of letting him call her worthless while she built an empire he didn't even know existed. That took patience. That took planning. That took kind of strategic thinking Derek had to admit he hadn't known Rebecca possessed. His phone buzzed. Text from his mother. How did the meeting go? Derek typed back, I'll call you later. Another text. Bradley this time. You okay? That was intense. Derek didn't respond, didn't know what to say. One more text. Kate Morrison, Rebecca's best friend, the divorce attorney who'd drawn up those papers that gave Derek everything. Bet you're rethinking that prenup now. Derek threw his phone across the room. It hit the wall. Didn't break, just clattered to the floor. He put his head in his hands. What had he done? What had he missed? How had he been so blind for so long? And more importantly, what was he going to do now? Derek sat in his office for an hour, maybe 2. He lost track. His assistant came back from lunch, knocked tentatively. Mr. Thornton, do you need anything? No, hold my calls. All of them? All of them. She retreated. Derek heard her whispering to someone. Probably the whole office knew by now. Rebecca Thornton, the ex-wife, the new owner, the woman no one had seen coming. His phone lay on the floor where he'd thrown it. Derek retrieved it, screen intact. 3 missed calls from Vivian. 5 texts. We need to talk. Call me. Derek. This changes things. I need space to think. Space to think. Translation. Vivian was reconsidering their relationship because Derek's status had changed, because he wasn't the successful executive dating down anymore, because his ex-wife had just revealed herself as more successful than both of them combined. Derek opened his email. Message from Rebecca's assistant. Ms. Thornton would like to meet with you in her office at 3 p.m. today. Please confirm. Her office, not Harrison's old office. Her office. Because she owned this building now. Owned this company. Owned Derek's professional future. He typed back, confirmed, 3 p.m. That gave him 90 minutes to figure out what to say, how to react, what to do. Derek left his office, took the stairs, needed to move, needed to think, went down instead of up, down to the parking garage, sat in his car, just sat there in the concrete space with fluorescent lights humming overhead. His phone rang. His mother. Derek answered. Hi, Mom. What happened? Your text was cryptic. The new owner, it's Rebecca. Silence. Then, excuse me? Rebecca bought the company. She owns it. She's been running some tech startup for 7 years. Very successful, apparently. That's impossible. Rebecca doesn't have that kind of money. She does. She built a company during our marriage. Never told me, kept it secret, and now she owns Thompson Gray. His mother's voice turned sharp. This is vindictive. This is cruel. This is her trying to embarrass you. I don't think that's what this is. Of course it is. She's attacking you, trying to humiliate you publicly. You need to fight this. Find a lawyer. There has to be a way to prove she hid assets during the divorce. The divorce was 2 years ago, and she says the company was separate from marital assets. She would say that, but no one builds a company in secret without using marital resources. Your house, your computer, your Mom, Derek cut her off. I need to go. I have a meeting with her at 3. Don't go. Don't give her the satisfaction. I have to go. She's my boss now. Then quit. Find another job. Don't let her do this to you. Derek hung up. His mother was still talking, but he couldn't listen anymore. Couldn't hear another voice telling him what to do, what to think, how to respond. He needed to figure this out himself. 2:30. Derek went back inside, took the elevator to the 9th floor. Rebecca's assistant sat at a desk outside what used to be Harrison's office. The nameplate had already been changed. Rebecca Thornton, CEO. Mr. Thornton, the assistant smiled, professional, neutral. Miss Thornton is ready for you. Go on in. Derek opened the door. The office had changed, not drastically, but noticeably. Harrison's heavy furniture was gone, replaced with modern pieces, clean lines. The desk faced the window now. Rebecca sat there working on her laptop. She didn't look up immediately. Derek stood in the doorway, waiting, feeling like a supplicant, hating it. Finally, Rebecca closed the laptop, gestured to the chair across from her desk. Sit. Derek sat, looked around, tried not to show how off balance he felt. The view from this office was incredible. Full city panorama, best view in the building. Rebecca had that now. Rebecca had everything now. Thank you for meeting with me. Rebecca folded her hands on her desk. I know today was a shock. That's an understatement. I imagine you have questions. About 1,000. Ask. Derek tried to organize his thoughts. So many questions. So much confusion. He started with the most basic one. When did you build this company? I started 7 years ago, right after your first affair. Derek flinched. That was a mistake. The first one? Or the 5 others I knew about? His jaw dropped. 5 you knew about. Of course I knew. Rebecca's voice stayed calm, matter of fact. I'm not stupid, Derek. You weren't as careful as you thought. And honestly, after the first one, I stopped caring. I had other things to focus on. Like building a company in secret. Exactly. Derek shook his head, still processing. How? When? I was home. I would have noticed. You were never home. Late nights at the office, business trips, golf weekends. You assumed I was at yoga or book club or shopping. You never asked. You never looked. But the divorce, you didn't fight. You accepted everything I offered because I didn't need your money. Rebecca leaned back in her chair. The prenup covered marital assets, but Meridian was built entirely separately. With capital I raised independently. The work was done on my own time. You can check with lawyers if you want. It's completely legal. Legal doesn't mean right. Interesting. Rebecca tilted her head. You think I was wrong to keep my success secret, but you thought it was fine to cheat repeatedly, to call me worthless behind my back, to make me feel small for 14 years. I never— Yes, you did. Rebecca's voice hardened slightly. Every time you dismissed my opinions, every time you talked over me at dinner parties, every time you introduced me as just a mom like that was the only thing I was capable of being, you made me small. You just didn't realize I was choosing to stay small while I built something you couldn't see. Derek didn't know what to say, didn't know how to argue. Because she was right. He had done those things. Not consciously, not maliciously, but consistently. For years, he'd made her invisible, and she'd used that invisibility. What do you want from me? Derek asked finally. I want you to do your job well. That's it? You don't want me to suffer? To fail? To quit? Why would I want that? Rebecca looked genuinely confused. You're a good executive. Your clients like you. Your team respects you. The company benefits from keeping you. But I'm your ex-husband. And you're really telling me this isn't personal? Rebecca was quiet for a moment, considering. It became personal when I heard you call me worthless, when I realized you genuinely believed I had no value. That made me angry. But anger isn't the same as revenge. Then what is this? This is me refusing to stay small anymore. Rebecca stood, walked to the window, looked out at the city. For 7 years, I hid who I really was, protected your ego. Let you feel superior. I'm done with that. Not because I want to hurt you, but because I'm tired of pretending to be less than I am. Derek joined her at the window, stood beside her. They'd stood like this before, years ago, in their old apartment, looking out at much smaller views, planning their future together. Except they'd never really planned together. Derek had planned, Rebecca had agreed. That's how it had always been. I never meant to make you feel worthless, Derek said quietly. I know, that's worse somehow. You didn't even think about it. You just assumed. I'm sorry. Rebecca turned to look at him. Are you? Or are you just sorry you were wrong? Derek didn't answer. Didn't know how to answer honestly. I'll give you a choice. Rebecca walked back to her desk. You can stay at Thompson Gray, keep your position, keep your salary, prove yourself on merit, or you can leave. I'll provide an excellent recommendation. Help you find something equivalent elsewhere. Your choice. Some choice. It's more than you gave me. You just decided our marriage was over. Decided I wasn't good enough, never asked what I wanted, never considered that I might be building something. You just made decisions for both of us. Derek felt the anger rising, finally, something besides shock and confusion. So, this is revenge. This is payback for the divorce. No, Rebecca's voice stayed level. This is business. This is me running the company I built. The company that happens to own your employer. If that makes you uncomfortable, that's not my problem. That's yours. I can't work for you. Then don't, quit, find something else. Rebecca sat down, opened her laptop. Let Harrison know by Monday. That's it? That's all you have to say? What else do you want me to say, Derek? Rebecca looked up, finally showed some emotion, frustration, tiredness, something real. Do you want me to apologize for being successful? For not telling you? For letting you believe your own lies about me? I won't. I'm done apologizing for not being small enough to fit into your idea of who I should be. Derek stared at her. This woman was a stranger, confident, fierce, nothing like the Rebecca he'd known or thought he'd known. I need to think, he said. Wait the weekend. Decide what you want, but decide honestly. Can you really work for me? Can you take direction from me? Can you respect me as your boss? Rebecca returned her attention to her laptop. If the answer is no, that's fine. But be honest with yourself about it. Derek left, walked out of her office, past her assistant, to the elevator, down to the parking garage, got in his car. His phone showed 6 missed calls. Vivian, his mother, Bradley, his mother again, Vivian again, numbers he didn't recognize. He turned off his phone, drove home. The house that used to be theirs. The house that was his now, pulled into the driveway, sat there. Vivian's car wasn't there. She'd probably gone to her own place. To think, to decide if dating Derek was still worth it now that his status had changed. Derek went inside, poured whiskey, sat on the patio Rebecca had designed, the garden Rebecca had planted. He'd kept it all, maintained it exactly how she'd set it up, because it was beautiful, because it worked, because Rebecca had always been good at building things. He just hadn't noticed. Derek drank his whiskey, watched the sun set, thought about Monday, thought about his choice, stay or go, work for Rebecca or start over. Except that he'd been wrong or hold on to his pride. He didn't know what he was going to do to my mom, but he had until Monday to decide. Friday evening, 5 o'clock. Rebecca sat in her real apartment, the penthouse, 43 floors up. She'd sent Hannah home early, told her to enjoy the weekend. Now Rebecca sat alone with floor-to-ceiling windows showing the city below, and her hands shaking so badly she had to set down her wine glass. She'd done it. The reveal, the confrontation, the moment she'd planned for 7 years. It was over. Finished. Complete. So why did she feel like this? Not triumphant, not victorious, just hollow and exhausted and weirdly sad. Rebecca walked to her closet, the walk-in closet bigger than most bedrooms. Designer clothes hung in perfect rows, shoes organized by type, accessories displayed like art. She stood in the middle of it all. 3 hours before she was supposed to pick up Lily and Owen for dinner. 3 hours to pull herself together. Instead, she slid down to sit on the floor. The carpet was plush, cream-colored, expensive. Designer shoes surrounded her on their lucite stands. Louboutin, Manolo, Chanel, evidence of success, proof of everything she'd built. She panic-cleaned at 6 a.m. this morning. The penthouse had been immaculate. She'd reorganized the spice cabinet anyway, alphabetically first, then by cuisine type, then alphabetically again. Old habit, panic habit, the habit that came when everything felt out of control. Now she sat in her closet, alone, surrounded by evidence of her success, and felt more lost than she had in years. Her phone buzzed. Kate, how are you? Rebecca stared at the text. How was she? How should she answer that? Fine, she typed back. Liar. Want me to come over? No, I'm okay. Rebecca, talk to me. Rebecca set down her phone, pressed her palms against her eyes, took a deep breath, then another. The victory was supposed to feel better than this, cleaner, simpler. She was supposed to walk out of that office feeling powerful and vindicated and strong. Instead, she felt like she'd just burned down her entire past and wasn't sure what was left standing. The phone rang. Not a text. An actual call. Kate wasn't giving up. I'm fine, Rebecca answered. No, you're not. I did it. The reveal. It went exactly as planned. And now I'm sitting in my closet having a breakdown. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Kate, you don't need to... 20 minutes. Kate hung up. Rebecca sat there among her expensive shoes. 20 minutes. She should get up, get dressed, pull herself together. Instead, she just sat. This was the dark place. The place she hadn't let herself acknowledge while she was building and planning and strategizing. This was the moment where she had to face what she'd actually done. She'd destroyed Derek's comfortable illusions. She'd revealed herself in a way that couldn't be taken back. She'd stepped out of the shadows into full view, and now everyone could see her. Really see her. And that was terrifying. The buzzer rang. Kate was faster than 20 minutes. Rebecca got up, walked to the door, pressed the intercom. It's me. Let me up. Rebecca buzzed her in. Waited by the door. Kate emerged from the private elevator 60 seconds later, carrying Thai food and wine. You didn't eat lunch. Kate announced. Or breakfast, probably. We're fixing that first, then we're talking. They sat on Rebecca's couch. The expensive one. The one Rebecca had picked herself without Derek's opinion. Kate opened containers of pad thai and curry and spring rolls, poured wine into Rebecca's good glasses. Eat. Rebecca picked up her fork, ate mechanically. The food tasted like nothing. Everything tasted like nothing. Talk to me. Kate set down her own fork. What happened after the meeting? Derek came to my office. We talked. I gave him until Monday to decide if he wants to stay. And? And I think I just destroyed his entire self-concept. Good. Is it? Rebecca looked at her friend. Is it good? I mean, yes, he was an asshole. Yes, he dismissed me for years. Yes, he deserved to know the truth. But Kate, I broke him today. I saw it happen. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. You feel guilty. Maybe, I don't know, I feel something. Kate poured more wine. You're allowed to feel complicated things. This doesn't have to be simple. Everyone expects it to be simple. Revenge, justice. He called me worthless, so I showed him I'm not. Clean narrative, satisfying ending. But it's not that clean. No. Rebecca drank her wine. Because I'm still me. I'm still the woman who was married to him for 14 years, who had kids with him, who loved him once, and I just publicly humiliated him. And that makes me feel human, Kate finished. It makes you feel human, which is good, healthy, normal. I don't want to feel normal. I want to feel powerful. You are powerful. That's why you can afford to feel vulnerable right now. Rebecca closed her eyes. I kept thinking it would feel different. The reveal, the moment. I thought I'd feel vindicated, satisfied. Instead, I just feel tired. You've been running on adrenaline for 7 years. Building, planning, hiding. That's exhausting. I'm not done yet. There's still Monday and the press release and integrating the companies and you can rest this weekend. You can sit in your closet and cry if you need to. You can feel whatever you feel. You earn in that. Rebecca opened her eyes, looked at her best friend. When did you get so wise? Law school? They teach wisdom between contracts and torts. Kate smiled. Also, I've been watching you build this for 7 years. I knew this moment would be hard. The victory and the aftermath, they're never as clean as we want them to be. They ate in silence for a while. Rebecca's appetite slowly returned. The food started tasting like something. The wine helped. I'm picking up the kids at 8, Rebecca said, taking them to dinner, explaining everything. How do you think they'll react? I don't know. Lily's smart. She'll understand. Owen? Owen's 13. Everything confuses him. They'll be proud of you. Or they'll be upset I lied to their father for 7 years. You didn't lie, you just didn't share everything. Is there a difference? Kate considered. Yes, but it's subtle, and you'll need to help them understand it. 7:30, Kate left. Rebecca showered, changed into normal clothes, jeans and a sweater. Nothing designer, nothing that screams success, just mom clothes. Comfortable, safe. She drove the Honda Civic to the sad little apartment, the fake home, picked up Lily and Owen. They climbed in, chattering about their day. Where's Dad? Lily asked. Home, I think. This is just us tonight. Cool. Where are we going? Wherever you want. They chose the diner they liked. Burgers and milkshakes. Casual. Easy. Rebecca sat across from her children in the worn vinyl booth and tried to figure out how to start. I need to tell you something, she began. Lily and Owen looked up from their phones. Something about your dad's work. Did he get fired? Owen asked. No, nothing like that. Rebecca took a breath. You know how his company got bought? New ownership? Yeah, he's been stressed about it. The new owner, the person who bought the company. Rebecca met their eyes. It's me. Silence. Then Lily's mouth opened. What? I own a tech company, Meridian Analytics, have for 7 years. We bought your dad's company 6 months ago. Owen looked confused. But you don't work. I do work. I just didn't tell you, or your dad. I kept it separate. Why? Lily's voice was sharp, hurt. Why would you hide that? Rebecca tried to explain about building the company during the marriage, about keeping it secret, about the long game. But even as she said it, she could hear how it sounded. Like excuses, like lies. So, Dad doesn't know? Lily processed. Didn't know. He found out today, in a meeting. Oh my God. Lily put her head in her hands. Mom, that's so messed up. I know. You ambushed him in front of his colleagues. I revealed something he should have known all along. If he'd been paying attention. That's not fair. You actively hid it. Rebecca felt her temper rising. Your father called me worthless, Lily. I heard him Monday night at your ceremony. He told Vivian I had no job, no prospects, no future, that I was living in a sad little apartment, that I got exactly what I deserved in the divorce. Lily's anger faltered. He said that? He did. And you know what? He believed it. He genuinely thought I was nothing. So I showed him he was wrong. Owen spoke up. But Mom, this apartment, we thought, I kept this place for you, so you'd have somewhere uncomplicated, somewhere without all the pressure. But this isn't where I live. I have a different apartment, a real one. Can we see it? Owen asked. Rebecca hesitated, then nodded. Yes, this weekend, if you want. They finished dinner. The conversation moved to other things, school, friends, normal topics, but the tension remained. Lily was upset. Rebecca could tell, not angry, just processing, trying to reconcile the mother she knew with this new information. They drove back to the small apartment. Rebecca walked them inside. I love you both, she said. This doesn't change anything between us. It changes every Yathistayman, Lily Kripremenden. We thought we knew you. Now we don't know what to think. I'm the same person. Are you? Lily grabbed her overnight bem, because the mom I knew wouldn't secretly build a company and humiliate Dad in public. Your dad humiliated himself. I just stopped hiding. It's still messed up. Lily left. Owen hesitated, gave Rebecca a hug. Think it's kind of cool, what you did. But Lily's right. It's also messed up. He left too. Rebecca stood alone in the fake apartment, the one she'd maintained for this exact purpose. Uncomplicated space for the kids. Now even that felt ruined, tainted by secrets and lies and strategic decisions. She sat on the second-hand couch, 8:45. Still early, she could go back to the penthouse, open more wine, call Kate again. Instead, she just sat there. The apartment was quiet, just the hum of the refrigerator, traffic sounds from outside, normal sounds, but everything felt different now. The performance was over. The secret was out. Everyone knew, and Rebecca felt more alone than she'd felt in 7 years. Her phone buzzed. Text from Derek. The kids called me. They're upset. This is on you. Rebecca stared at the message. Type back, you called me worthless. This is on you. She hit send, then immediately regretted it. That wasn't helpful. That was just striking back, continuing the fight. Her phone rang. Derek. Don't. His voice was raw, angry, hurt. Don't text me that and then ignore me. I'm not ignoring you. Lily is crying. She doesn't understand why you lied. I didn't lie. I built something and didn't share it. There's a difference. Not to her, not to Owen. You kept this huge secret and now they don't know what to believe. About me or about you. What's that supposed to mean? It means they're upset because their image of both of us just changed. I'm not who they thought I was, and you're not who you thought you were. That's hard, but it's also necessary. Derek was quiet then. I can't work for you. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? I gave you a choice. You're making it. I respect that. I thought you'd argue, try to convince me. Why would I? You need to do what's right for you, just like I did. More silence then. I don't know who you are anymore. Yes, you do. You just never looked. Rebecca stood, walked to the window. I'm the woman who planted your garden, who raised your kids, who supported your career for 14 years. I'm also the woman who built a $40 million company in secret. I'm both. I was always both. You just only saw the parts you wanted to see. 40 million? Derek's voice cracked. Your company is worth 40 million? More, actually, but who's counting? Jesus Christ, Rebecca. Let Harrison know your decision Monday. And Derek, tell the kids I loved them, that I'm sorry this is hard, but I'm not sorry for being successful. She hung up. Rebecca stood in the fake apartment, the performance space, the place where she'd pretended to be small. Tomorrow she'd bring the kids to the penthouse. Show them the truth. Help them understand. Tonight she just needed to feel this. The aftermath, the dark place, the vulnerable space where she wasn't powerful or vindicated or strong, where she was just a woman who'd made hard choices and now had to live with the consequences. She turned off the lights, left the apartment, drove back to the penthouse, 43 floors up, real home, real life. Her closet still looked the same. Designer shoes, expensive clothes, evidence of success. Rebecca changed into pajamas, got into bed, looked at the ceiling. Tomorrow would be better. Tomorrow she'd feel strong again. Tomorrow she'd remember why she did this. Tonight she just let herself break down a little. Let herself cry. Let herself be human. Because even extraordinary women had dark nights. Even winners had moments of doubt. And that was okay. That was necessary. That was real. Saturday morning, Rebecca woke at 8, later than usual. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows. She lay in bed for a moment, just breathing, just existing. Yesterday had been hard. Last night had been harder, but she'd made it through. Now came the next part. Rebecca showered, made coffee, checked her phone. No messages from Derek. One from Lily. Can we see your real apartment today? Rebecca smiled, typed back. Come by at noon, I'll send you the address. She spent the morning cleaning, even though the penthouse was already clean. Even though her cleaning service had been there Friday. She needed to move, needed to prepare, needed to make this space ready for her children to see. At 11:45, she texted the address, waited, watched the city below. The elevator announced arrivals with a soft chime. Noon exactly, Lily and Owen stepped out. They stood in the entryway, staring, not moving. Welcome, Rebecca said. Come in. Lily walked forward slowly, taking it in, the open floor plan, the designer furniture, the view. Mom, this is big, Rebecca offered. Insane. Owen rushed to the windows. You can see everything. Lily turned in a circle. How long have you lived here? 5 years, since right before the divorce finalized. And we never knew. I kept it separate for a lot of reasons. Rebecca gave them the tour, the kitchen, the living room, the guest rooms, her office. Lily's eyes got wider with each room. Your closet is bigger than our entire apartment, Lily said quietly. The fake apartment, Rebecca corrected gently. This is real. That's just a place I kept for you. They ended up in the living room. Rebecca made lunch, sandwiches and fruit, normal food in a very unnormal setting. I don't understand, Lily said finally. Why hide this? Why not just tell Dad? Tell us. Rebecca sat down, chose her words carefully. When I started Meridian, your dad and I were still married. He was having affairs, making me feel small. If I'd told him about the company, he would have found a way to diminish it, to make it about him, to take credit or control or both. So you hid it. I protected it. I protected myself. I built something that was completely mine. But you could have told us after the divorce. I could have. But you were already dealing with so much. The separation, the custody arrangements. Learning to live in 2 homes, I didn't want to add more confusion. Owen spoke up. Plus, it's kind of cool, like you're a secret superhero. Rebecca laughed. I'm not a superhero. I'm just a businesswoman who got tired of being invisible. Dad's really upset, Lily said. I know. Is that what you wanted, to hurt him? No. Rebecca met her daughter's eyes. I wanted him to see me, really see me. If that hurt, it's because the truth was different from what he believed, not because I was trying to cause pain. They ate lunch. Gradually, the tension eased. Owen explored the apartment, found the gaming system Rebecca kept for when they visited. Lily sat on the couch, quiet, processing. Can I ask you something? Lily finally said. Anything. Are you happy? Like really happy? Rebecca considered. I'm satisfied. I built something extraordinary. But happy? That's more complicated. Why? Because success doesn't solve everything. It doesn't fix relationships. It doesn't make you less lonely. It just gives you a different set of problems. Do you miss Dad? I miss who I thought he was, who we were together in the beginning. But the real Derek? The one who called me worthless? No, I don't miss him. Lily nodded, understood. I'm still mad at you. That's fair. But I'm also kind of proud of you. Rebecca felt her eyes sting. Yeah, yeah, what you did, building this, it's impressive. Lily paused. Just maybe next time warn us before you blow up everyone's lives. Deal. They spent the afternoon together. Normal things, movies, games, pizza delivery. Rebecca showed them photos of the Meridian office, explained what the company did, let them ask questions. Around 5, Owen fell asleep on the couch. Lily moved to the window, looked out at the city. Dad's going to quit, Lily said quietly. Probably. Will he be okay? Your father's very good at what he does. He'll find something else, maybe something better. Will you be okay? Rebecca joined her daughter at the window. Yes, I will. You seem sad. A little. This week was intense, but I'm okay. Lily leaned against her mother. Rebecca put her arm around her daughter. They stood like that for a while, just looking out at the city, together. I told Jenna, Lily said, my friend from school, about what you did. What did she say? She said her mom wishes she'd done something like that, before her dad left. Rebecca didn't respond, just held her daughter. I think a lot of moms wish they'd done what you did, Lily continued. Built something, kept it safe, not needed anyone's permission. Maybe. No, definitely. Lily looked up at her. You're kind of a badass, Mom. Rebecca laughed. Actually laughed. Language. True, though. They woke Owen. Rebecca drove them back to Derek's house, the house that used to be hers. She pulled into the driveway. Derek's car was there, lights on inside. You going to be okay with Dad? Rebecca asked. Yeah, Lily said, it will be fine. They hugged her. Went inside. Rebecca waited until they were through the door. Then she drove away. Back to the penthouse. Back to her real home. She sat at her desk in the office, opened her laptop, checked emails, Meridian business, Thompson Gray integration plans, press release draft for Monday. Everything was on track. Everything was working. The plan was succeeding, but Rebecca still felt that quiet ache, that sense that something was missing. Not Derek, not the marriage. Something else. Her phone rang. Grace Sullivan, her mentor. I heard about Friday, Grace said. Congratulations. Thank you. How are you holding up? Honestly, I'm not sure. That's normal. Big victories are often followed by big crashes. Your body processes all the adrenaline you've been running on. It's more than that. I thought I'd feel different, stronger. Instead, I just feel quiet. Grace was silent for a moment. Can I tell you something about my own experience? Please. 30 years ago, I built my first company, sold it for 8 figures. Everyone told me I should feel triumphant, powerful. But mostly I felt tired and a little sad because building that company had been my identity, my purpose. Once it was done, I had to figure out who I was without it. What did you do? I rested, I processed, I let myself feel everything, and then I started the next thing because the extraordinary women don't stop at one victory. We keep building. Rebecca smiled. Is that your way of telling me to start planning my next move? No, it's my way of telling you to take this weekend. Feel whatever you feel. Cry if you need to. Be vulnerable. Be human. And then Monday, you'll be ready to be extraordinary again. They talked for another 20 minutes. Grace shared stories from her own career, the victories, the valleys, the moments of doubt. By the time they hung up, Rebecca felt lighter. She made dinner, sat at her dining table, ate slowly. The city lights came on below. Saturday night, millions of people out there living their lives, dating, dancing, celebrating, being normal. Rebecca wasn't normal, probably never would be, but that was okay. She cleaned up, changed into comfortable clothes, poured wine, sat on her couch with a book. Her phone buzzed. Text from Bradley Winters. Derek told the team he's quitting. Wanted you to know. Rebecca typed back, thanks for letting me know. How's the team handling it? Mixed reactions. Some are relieved, some are worried. But we'll be okay. Good. See you Monday. She set down her phone. Derek was quitting. That was his choice. His right. Part of her was relieved. Working together would have been awkward. Difficult. This was cleaner. Another text. Kate, how are the kids? Better. They saw the penthouse. I think Lily understands now. Good. And you? I'm okay. Really. Just processing. Proud of you. Rebecca smiled at her phone. Proud of you. 4 words. But they meant everything. She finished her wine, got ready for bed. Tomorrow she'd spend the day preparing for Monday. The press release would go out at 9 a.m., announcing Rebecca Thornton as CEO of the merged companies, Meridian and Thomson Gray, combined force in the marketing analytics space. The business world would take notice. Her competitors would scramble. Her clients would want meetings. Her story would spread. The invisible woman who built an empire. The ex-wife who bought her husband's company. The underestimated mother who became a CEO. The narrative was already forming. Rebecca could see it, and she needed to be ready to control it, to tell her story her way, not Derek's version, not anyone else's interpretation. Hers, but tomorrow. Tomorrow she'd prepare. Tonight she'd rest. Rebecca lay in bed, looked at the ceiling, felt the quiet strength returning. The vulnerability was still there, the sadness, the complexity, but underneath it all, something solid. She'd done it. The reveal, the confrontation, the aftermath. She'd survived all of it. And Monday she'd show everyone who she really was. Not Derek's ex-wife, not the worthless one, not the woman with no prospects. Rebecca Thornton, CEO, founder, mother, extraordinarily successful businesswoman who'd refused to stay small. That was worth fighting for. That was worth protecting. That was worth everything. Rebecca closed her eyes, slept, dreamed of empires and possibilities in the future she was building. Tomorrow would be better. Monday would be extraordinary. She was ready. Monday morning, 5 a.m. Rebecca woke before her alarm. Lay in bed for 5 minutes, just breathing, feeling the weight of what today meant. The press release would go out at 9. By 10, every business publication would have the story. By noon, social media would explode. By evening, Rebecca Thornton would be a name everyone recognized. No more hiding, no more secrets. Just truth. Rebecca got up, showered, stood in her closet for 10 minutes deciding what to wear. Not just clothes, armor, statement, identity. She selected a charcoal gray suit, tailored, perfect, strong without being aggressive, professional without being boring. She paired it with a cream blouse, simple jewelry, her mother's pearls. She looked in the mirror, recognized herself. This was who she'd always been, just hidden, just waiting, not anymore. 6 a.m., Rebecca made coffee, checked her phone, message from Hannah, press release ready to go. Approve final version? Rebecca opened the attachment. Read through it one more time. For immediate release, Rebecca Thornton, named CEO of Merged Meridian Analytics and Thomson Gray Marketing. Silicon Valley success story reveals 7-year journey from kitchen table startup to industry leader. The release continued. Professional, factual, strategic. It told her story without dramatics, mentioned her marriage and divorce only in passing, focused on business achievements, client wins, revenue growth, innovation. This was the narrative Rebecca wanted, not revenge, not personal vendetta, just success. She typed back to Hannah, approved, send at 7 a.m. Rebecca drove to the Meridian office. Her Tesla, her real car. No more hiding behind the Honda Civic. That performance was done. The office building gleamed in morning light. She parked in her reserved space, executive level. Her name on the sign. Rebecca Thornton, CEO. She'd earned that. The elevator took her to the 9th floor. Hannah was already there with coffee. So was Richard. her partner, her friend, the one who'd believed in her from the beginning. Big day, Richard said. Very big. You ready? As ready as I'll ever be. They went to her office, reviewed the schedule, 9 a.m. press release, 10 a.m. board call, 11 a.m. all-hands meeting with Meridian staff, 1 p.m. conference call with Thomson Gray executives, 3 p.m. interviews with business press, 5 p.m. team celebration, packed, intense, perfect. 8:45. Rebecca sat at her desk, opened her laptop. The press release was queued, ready to send, just waiting for her final approval. She thought about Derek, probably at home, probably drafting his resignation letter, probably angry, hurt, confused. She thought about Lily and Owen at Swedish school, normal Monday, except their mother was about to become news. She thought about her own mother, the one she'd reconnected with this weekend, who'd cried when Rebecca told her everything, who'd said, "I always knew you had it in you." 8:58. Rebecca clicked send. The press release went out. Within 30 seconds, her phone started buzzing. Text messages, emails, notifications. All at once, like an explosion of attention. Congratulations! Incredible story! Can't believe this! You're a legend! Rebecca muted her phone. Let the messages pile up. She'd respond later. Right now, she had a board call. 10 a.m., the board members appeared on screen. Grace Sullivan, Michael Chen. Wait, stop, not Chen, wrong name, that's Asian. Let me check the outline. Actually, Lee, looking back at my outline, I need to correct this. Let me continue with American names only. 10 a.m., the board members appeared on screen. Grace Sullivan, Michael Bradford, Sarah Wellington, distinguished investors, seasoned executives, people who'd bet on Rebecca when she was just an idea. Well done, Grace opened. The release is getting excellent coverage. Thank you. Questions? Sarah asked. About the integration, the timeline? Rebecca walked them through it. 6-month integration plan, gradual merger of systems, client retention strategy, revenue projections. She'd prepared for this, knew every number, every detail, every risk. The board approved everything, gave her authority to move forward, congratulated her again. 11 a.m., all-hands meeting with Meridian staff. Rebecca stood in front of her team, 47 people, the ones who'd helped her build this. Thank you, she started, for your trust, your hard work, your dedication. What we've built together is extraordinary, and today the world knows it. She explained the merger, the opportunity, the growth ahead. Her team applauded, asked questions, celebrated. This was right. This was good. This was what she'd working for. 1 p.m., conference call with Thomson Gray executives. Tense, uncertain. Derek wasn't on the call. Bradley was. So was Jennifer, Sarah from HR, Marcus from accounting. I know today has been shocking, Rebecca said. The press release, the attention, the revelation about my history with Derek. I want to address that directly. She explained, carefully, professionally, her marriage, the company she'd built, the acquisition, the Friday meeting, the choice she'd given Derek. Derek has decided to leave the company, Rebecca said. That's his right. I respect his decision. For the rest of you, nothing changes except your access to better tools, better resources, better opportunities. Bradley spoke up. What about morale? The team is worried. I understand. That's why I'm flying to Thomson Gray tomorrow, meeting with each department, answering questions face to face, showing you I'm not just Derek's ex-wife. I'm a CEO who wants this company to succeed. The call lasted an hour. By the end, most of the tension had eased, not gone, but manageable. 3 p.m., first interview, Business Insider. The reporter was young, female, clearly fascinated. Ms. Thornton, your story is remarkable. Building a company in secret while married, buying your ex-husband's firm. How did you plan all this? I didn't plan revenge if that's what you're asking. I planned success. The fact that success happened to intersect with my ex-husband's workplace is almost incidental. Almost. I won't lie, there's satisfaction in proving wrong someone who underestimated me. But that's not why I built Meridian. I built it because I saw a market need and had the skills to fill it. You kept the company secret from your husband for 7 years. Some people might call that deceptive. Rebecca had prepared for this. I kept my professional life separate from my personal life. Many people do that. The difference is my husband assumed I had no professional life. He never asked, never looked, never considered that I might be building something. That's not deception. That's his failure to see me. The interview continued. Tough questions, fair questions. Rebecca answered honestly. Didn't hide, didn't apologize, just told her truth. 4 p.m., second interview. Forbes, male reporter, more skeptical. You're being positioned as a feminist success story. Woman builds empire while husband dismisses her. But you also hid significant assets during a divorce. How do you reconcile that? Meridian Analytics was not a marital asset. It was founded with independent capital, built on my own time, completely separate from my marriage financially and legally. I disclosed everything I was required to disclose. But morally, I chose to protect what I'd built. My ex-husband had affairs, multiple affairs. He dismissed my contributions, made me feel worthless. I'm supposed to reward that behavior by giving him half of something he never knew existed? Something he would have undermined if he'd known? No, I chose to protect myself and my work. The reporter paused. Then, fair enough, 5 p.m. Rebecca walked into the celebration. Her Meridian team had gathered. Champagne, music, laughter. They'd reserved a restaurant, rented out the whole place. To Rebecca! Hannah raised her glass. The most badass CEO in Silicon Valley. Everyone cheered. Rebecca felt it finally. The victory, the satisfaction, the joy. These people believed in her, worked with her, built this alongside her. This was what success felt like. She stayed for 2 hours, celebrated, told stories, laughed, let herself be happy. 7 p.m. Her phone had been on silent all day. Now she checked it. 173 messages, emails, texts, voicemails, congratulations, interview requests, job offers, investment opportunities, and one message from Derek. I submitted my resignation to Harrison. My last day is Friday. The kids asked about you. Call them. Rebecca stepped outside, dialed Lily. Mom, oh my God, everyone's talking about you. It's all over social media. I know. Are you okay? Am I okay? Mom, you're famous. Like actually famous. There's a hashtag and everything. Rebecca laughed. A hashtag? Hash secret CEO. It's trending. People are sharing your story, saying your goals. It's insane. How do you feel about it? Honestly, pretty cool. Like my mom is this total boss and everyone knows it now. And Owen, he's bragging to his friends. Told everyone his mom owns a company worth millions. Not quite how I'd phrase it, but okay. Are you happy, Mom? Like really? Rebecca thought about it. Standing outside the restaurant, city lights around her, the celebration continuing inside, her company thriving, her kids proud, her story told her way. Yes, she said, I really am. They talked for 20 more minutes, about school, about the press, about Derek. Lily was handling it well, better than Rebecca had expected. Dad's upset, Lily said, but also kind of impressed. It's weird. He keeps saying he can't believe he didn't see it. He saw what he expected to see. That's sad. It is, but it's also not my problem anymore. Mom, can I tell you something? Always. I'm glad you did this, built your company, kept it safe, showed everyone who you really are. It's brave. Rebecca felt tears sting her eyes. Thank you, honey. Love you. Love you too. She hung up, stood there for a moment, just breathing, just feeling, just existing in this moment of complete transformation. Her phone buzzed. Text from Kate. You're trending on Twitter, you're in Forbes, you're everywhere. How does it feel? Rebecca typed back. Terrifying and amazing, that's about right. Drinks Wednesday to celebrate? Perfect. Another text. Grace Sullivan, I told you. Extraordinary women don't stop at one victory. What's next? What's next? Good question. Rebecca had been so focused on this moment, this reveal, this transformation. She hadn't thought much about after, but now the possibilities opened up. Meridian and Thomson Gray merged. $40 million company, growing, opportunities for expansion, new markets, new products, new challenges. She could build something even bigger, even better, even more extraordinary. Or she could consolidate, stabilize, enjoy what she'd already built. Or something else entirely, something she hadn't imagined yet. The future was open, unknown, mas completely hers to design. Rebecca went back inside, rejoined the celebration, raised her glass. To new beginnings, she toasted. To Rebecca, the team shouted back. She drank, laughed, let herself feel the joy, the satisfaction, the peace that came from finally being seen. Not as someone's ex-wife, not as someone's mother, not as someone's dismissed partner, just as herself. Rebecca Thornton, founder, CEO, extraordinary woman who'd refused to stay small. That was her story now, her truth, her identity, and it felt exactly right. 3 weeks later, Rebecca sat in the Thomson Gray conference room, the same room where she'd revealed herself, the same view, the same table, but everything felt different now. Around her sat her new executive team. Bradley Winters had been promoted to VP of Sales. Jennifer led client services. Sarah headed HR. Marcus managed finance. New people filled the gaps Derek and others had left. Quarterly numbers, Rebecca said. Let's see them. Bradley pulled up the slides. Revenue up 12%. Client retention 94%. 3 new major contracts. One major publication had called the merger the most successful integration in recent marketing tech history. This is excellent. Rebecca reviewed the numbers. What's driving the growth? Integration of the platforms, Jennifer explained. Clients love having everything in one system. Plus, the Meridian brand gives us credibility we didn't have before. And morale? Rebecca looked at Sarah. Improving. It was rough the first week. A lot of uncertainty. But your daily presence helped. The team sees you're committed. Rebecca had moved some of her work to Thomson Gray, split time between both offices, showed her face, learned names, built relationships. It was exhausting, but necessary. Any concerns? She asked. Just one. Bradley hesitated. Derek's clients, some of them are asking questions, wanting reassurance. Schedule calls. I'll talk to each one personally. Explain the transition. You sure that's your time? It's the right thing to do. Derek built those relationships. They deserve to hear from me directly. The meeting continued. Strategy, planning, execution. This was the work Rebecca loved. Building, growing, solving problems, making things better. 2 hours later, she wrapped up. Her phone showed a message from Lily. Volleyball game tonight. Can you come? Rebecca checked her calendar. Budget review at 4, conference call at 5. But nothing she couldn't move. I'll be there. What time? 6. Love you. Rebecca smiled. Things with the kids had smoothed out. The initial shock had faded. Now they were proud, excited. Lily wore a Meridian t-shirt to school. Owen told his friends his mom was basically Tony Stark. Not quite accurate, but close enough. She drove back to Meridian, spent the afternoon on calls, budget approvals, client check-ins, normal CEO work. The kind of work she could do in her sleep now. 5:30, Rebecca changed in her office. Jeans and a sweater, Meridian jacket, comfortable, casual, mom uniform. She drove to Hillcrest Academy, the same school where she'd overheard Derek 3 weeks ago. The same hallway, the same trophy cases. Everything looked the same, but Rebecca felt completely different, confident, visible, The gym was packed, parents in the bleachers, students cheering. Rebecca found a seat, scanned the court. There, Lily, number 12, setting up for serve. Rebecca, a voice beside her. She turned. Vivian Monroe. Rebecca hadn't seen Vivian since before the reveal, hadn't spoken to her, hadn't thought much about her honestly. Vivian, hi. Can I sit? Rebecca gestured to the empty space. Vivian sat. They watched the game in silence for a moment. I broke up with Derek, Vivian said finally. I heard. It wasn't about the money or the status or any of that. No, it was about realizing he'd completely missed who you were for 7 years. If he could be that blind about you, he could be that blind about me. Rebecca looked at her, really looked. Vivian wasn't wearing makeup, hair in a ponytail, regular clothes, not the designer outfits she'd worn before. That's wise, Rebecca said. I wanted to tell you. I'm sorry for the things I said about you, the assumptions I made. You didn't know me. No, but I listened to Derek's version. Never questioned it. That's on me. They watched Lily serve. Ace, the crowd cheered. She's good, Vivian said. You must be proud. I am. Derek talks about you differently now, with respect, sometimes with regret. How is he? Job hunting, getting interviews. He'll land somewhere good. He always does. Vivian stood. I just wanted to say that. And congratulations. What you built. It's extraordinary. Thank you. Vivian left. Rebecca watched her go, felt something close to pity. Vivian had been part of Derek's story, part of his comfortable illusion. Now that illusion was gone and Vivian was rebuilding too. Everyone was rebuilding. The game continued. Lily played brilliantly. Her team won in straight sets. After, Rebecca met her at the gym entrance. You were amazing, Rebecca hugged her daughter. Did you see that last spike? It was perfect. I saw. You're incredible. Owen appeared. He'd been in the stands with friends. Can we get pizza? Absolutely. They went to the place the kids liked, crowded, noisy, normal. Rebecca ordered. They found a booth. Dad got an interview, Lily said. Some company in Austin. That's good. Would you be glad if he moved? Rebecca thought about it honestly. No, I'd be happy for him. New start, clean slate. He's different now. Quieter, thinking more. That's probably healthy. They ate pizza, talked about school, friends, normal things, but different somehow, easier. The secrets were gone. Everyone knew the truth. Rebecca's phone buzzed. Text from Richard. Board approved the expansion. We're opening offices in London and Singapore. She typed back, excellent. When do we start? Planning next month. You'll need to travel. Oh, Rebecca looked at her kids. How would you feel about spending Christmas in London? Are you serious? Lily's eyes went wide. I have to go there for work. Thought you might want to come. Yes, absolutely yes. Owen nodded enthusiastically. Can we see Big Ben? We can see everything. They finished dinner. Rebecca drove them back to Derek's house. Her old house, the lights were on inside. Derek's car in the driveway. Tell your dad I said hi, Rebecca said. Do you want to come in? Lily asked. Like to talk or whatever? Rebecca considered, then shook her head. Not tonight, but maybe soon. We should figure out how to co-parent better now that everything's changed. He'd like that. He said so. Interesting. Maybe Derek was growing. Maybe the shock had forced him to see things differently. Maybe losing everything he'd taken for granted had taught him something. Rebecca hoped so, for the kids' sake if nothing else. She drove home. The penthouse, her real home, the place everyone knew about now. The apartment felt different with the secret gone. Not better exactly, not worse, just different, more authentic, more hers. Rebecca changed into comfortable clothes, poured wine, sat on her couch with her laptop, checked the expansion plans Richard had sent. London office would need staff, Singapore office too, hiring, training, building teams in new markets. This was the next challenge, the next mountain, the next thing to build. Her phone rang. Grace Sullivan. I heard about London and Singapore. Congratulations. Thank you. It's exciting, terrifying, both. That's how you know it's the right move. Grace paused. Can I tell you something? Of course. I've been in business 40 years. Built 4 companies, sold 3, kept 1. And the thing I've learned is this. The victories matter, but the journey matters more. Who you become while building, that's the real success. Who have I become? Someone who doesn't need anyone's permission to be extraordinary. That's rare. That's powerful. That's something to protect. I will. I know you will. That's why I invested in you. They talked for another hour. About business, about life, about the balance between ambition and happiness. about the cost of success and whether it was worth it. It was worth it. Rebecca knew that now. Not just the money, not just the company, but the transformation, the becoming, the journey from invisible to visible, from dismissed to respected, from worthless to valued. That was worth everything, everything. 10 p.m., Rebecca got ready for bed, checked her email one more time. Message from Derek. I know we're not in a good place, but I want to say something. I'm sorry for not seeing you, for calling you worthless, for assuming you were less than you are. You're extraordinary. You always were. I was just too blind to see it. I hope someday we can be friends. For the kids, but also because you deserve better from me than what I gave. Congratulations on everything. You earned it. Derek. Rebecca read it 3 times. Felt the anger that had driven her for so long, the hurt, the need to prove him wrong. But underneath that, something else. Forgiveness. Not complete, not immediate, but possible. Eventually. She typed back, thank you. That means something, Shem. Let's talk soon about the kids. They need us both. She hit send, felt lighter. The anger was becoming something else, something smaller, something manageable. She didn't need to carry it anymore. Didn't need to be fueled by it. The rage that had driven her for 7 years was transforming into something healthier, quieter, wiser. Peace. That's what it was. Peace under Demos. Rebecca got into bed, looked at the ceiling, thought about the past 3 weeks, the reveal, the press, the reaction, the transformation. She'd done it. She'd shown everyone who she was, really was. And the world had responded with respect, with admiration, with recognition. But more importantly, she'd shown herself, proven to herself that she was capable of extraordinary things, that she didn't need Derek's validation, that she could build empires while everyone assumed she was doing nothing. That power had always been hers. She'd just been waiting for the right moment to use it. Her phone buzzed one more time. Text from Kate. Drinks Wednesday still on? Definitely. Proud of you. Always was. Always will be. Rebecca smiled, set down her phone, closed her eyes. Tomorrow she'd wake up and do it all again. Run her companies, be a mother, build her empire, live her life, but tonight she'd rest. She'd earned it. She didn't check her phone 3 times anymore. Didn't panic clean. Didn't rehearse her conversations before they happened. She just existed. Comfortably, confidently, completely. The panic behaviors were gone. The performance was over. The real Rebecca was all that remained, and she was extraordinary. Outside, the city hummed, 43 floors below, millions of people living their lives. Most of them would never build what she'd built, never take the risks she'd taken, never transform the way she'd transformed. But some would. Some woman somewhere would hear her story, would see that it was possible, would decide to build something in secret, to protect her dreams, to refuse to stay small. And that woman would succeed, because Rebecca had shown her how. That was the real legacy, not the company, not the money, not even the satisfaction of proving Derek wrong. The legacy was showing other women what was possible when you refused to be invisible, when you built something extraordinary, when you became who you were always meant to be. Rebecca Thornton, founder, boom mother, extraordinary woman who'd spent 7 years playing small while building an empire. The worthless ex-wife who bought her husband's company. The invisible woman who became impossible to ignore. That was her story, and it was just beginning. The champagne glass had shattered 3 weeks ago. That sound still echoed in her memory. The sound of something ending, the sound of something breaking, but also the sound of something beginning. Rebecca fell asleep thinking about London, about Singapore, about the future she was building, about her kids, about the next chapter, about all the possibilities that opened up when you finally stopped hiding, when you finally stepped into the light, when you finally became who you were always meant to be. Extraordinary, visible, real. The girl who'd clipped coupons and hidden her dreams was gone. The woman who owned empires had taken her place, and that woman was ready for whatever came next. Because she'd learned the most important lesson of all, the prison door had never been locked. She just believed Derek when he told her it was. The waste wasn't the years trapped. The waste would have been never turning the handle, But she'd turned it, walked through, found herself on the other side, free, powerful, extraordinary, and she was never going back. Rebecca didn't just prove her ex-husband wrong, she redefined what's possible when you refuse to stay small. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt invisible or underestimated, hit that like button. You're not alone. Share this with someone who needs to hear that extraordinary things are possible, even when no one's watching you build them. Drop a comment telling me, what would you build in secret if you could? And subscribe for more stories about ordinary people who did extraordinary things. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming who you were always meant to be. See you in the next story.